Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about using the Octatrack as a sequencer and a mixer for outboard gear. So I've got my Moogs hooked up to the Octatrack. It's going in input C, and I want to get that sound through. There's a couple ways to do that. I can go into my mixer and I can turn up the direct right here. Right, and that'll let the sound come through the input and go straight out to the output, which is all well and good, but we can't add any effects to it. We can't use the LFO or the various other parameters that are associated with tracks. And I want to be able to do that, so that's not the best way for me to do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to set up on track 5 a through track or machine. Set up a through machine, and that will let the audio go through all of these parameters here and then to the output. And the way I'm going to set that up is I've got my synthesizer going in input C. I can hit the key and I can see my light bouncing for C over here. So turn this, set this to C, and now the audio should go through. But first I have to set up a trigger over here. Setting up a trigger opens up the gate for the through machine and allows it to process the audio. If you don't set up the trigger, it won't pass the audio through. So now that I have that set up, I can hit play and audio goes through. Great. So now I want to use the Octatrack's Midi capabilities to sequence that synthesizer. So I'm going to switch over to my Midi page, and on track 5 I am going to set up the Midi channel so it can control my synthesizer. So I'm going to double tap on the page or the playback, and that brings us to Midi note setup. And I'm going to change my channel so it reflects the channel that my synthesizer is set up on, which is channel 13. So I'm going to scroll that over to 13. Now I've got it on 13. If I change pages and come back, it's still off. It didn't take that setting because you have to click the knob in order to confirm your choice, which is a little unintuitive. It's just something to keep in mind. So now I've got the channel set up. I can go in here and I can place some triggers and sequence like I would expect to. Great. Now if I wanted to use some MIDI CCs to control things like I don't know, the modulation or whatever on the synthesizer, you would go into page control 1 or control 2. Now you would think that you could just turn this and make it work, but that doesn't actually work that way. What you got to do is hold function and then click the knob, and that activates that CC. Now you can double tap on that to determine what CC value is for that parameter, what the CC value is for the parameter. So when you go back here, CC4, I've got that set up. I can double tap here and CC4 goes to 10. If I want to turn that off, I can just function, click on the knob, it deactivates it. So that's how you use the MIDI CCs. That's how you set up sequencing. One thing to keep in mind is that when you're using MIDI on the Octatrack, tracks 1 through 8 default to set up for like, they set up for the, what's it called? The MIDI control channels. If you go into this, if you go into your project and go MIDI channels, you can see that these trigger channels are set to MIDI channels 1 through 8. And basically what that is if you've got yourself an external MIDI controller and you want to control these parameters, you can do that using this, and each track corresponds to a different MIDI channel. Now if you're trying to set up a synthesizer on channel 1 through 8, you're going to get some conflicts. So it's best to either use channel 9 and above for your synthesizers, or go into this menu and turn these off, or you'll get conflicts when you're trying to use your synthesizer. Hopefully that clears up whatever questions you had about setting up MIDI and through channels, through tracks on your Octatrack. If you have any questions or would like to see me cover something else, leave me a comment. Thanks.